Well, good afternoon. Before we get started on San Diego, I have to talk a little bit about some discipline issues. We removed 3 guys from the team last week for violation of team rules, and I'm not going to comment any further, but Darren Kelly, Henry Vandell, and Sean Engel were removed from the football team last Monday, and Dallas Freeman was suspended for this game effective last Monday. So I'm not going to get into any reasons other than the fact that violation of team rules. So unfortunate, but that's what happened. So moving on to San Diego, really good football team, and we talk a lot about having a team come in here for the second time in consecutive seasons, and it's just it's not as overwhelming as the first time. And you look at date back to Georgia Southern, to Coastal Carolina, and now to San Diego. They have a good formula in the fact that they run the football. They have an experienced quarterback. They play really good defense, and I think most importantly, they're really well coached. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the coaching staff and what they've done there with that program, and it's no fluke what they did to Northern Arizona. They beat them in every phase of the game, and so we'll have our work cut out for us, coming up with great plans. You know, you look at what we did last year, and we had some success in the second half, but in the first half it was a 14-0 game for most of it, and I thought they did a really good job of scheming us, and so we have to go back to the drawing board, see the things that we liked and see the things that we need to improve upon. But make no mistake, this is a really good football team coming in here. So open up for questions.
Look a little bit stronger, a little bit different, a little bit more powerful from the team you saw last year?
Well, they're more experienced as far as they have their offensive line back. In all those guys that played in the playoff game are playing right now. You combine that with the quarterback that's just such a seasoned guy that doesn't make mistakes and is playing with a lot of confidence. And they lost the great running back, but they've been able to counter that with a few guys that they're playing. And then they, physical with tight ends and stuff. It's more like us in the fact of you're going to see a team that's under center. You're going to see a team that's that huddles, and you're going to see a team with a lot of tight ends. So, that's how you win football games, I believe, is by being physical and playing good defense.
One of those guys played a little bit. So receiver, who moves up in the receiver depth chart?
Dez moves up a little bit more in the receiver depth chart.
Or in that spot?
Just the way he practices and what he's done, more so learning our system.
With Henry being gone, does that mean that Cole is ready to play, or who's your backup quarterback then for Saturday?
Well, Cole practiced yesterday, and we're hoping he can continue to improve this week, and I think there's a great chance that Cole would be the backup. We'll still throw James over there. Like we talked a couple weeks ago, James was essentially the backup as it was. And so James met with Coach Hedberg today. He'll practice a little bit there. So really, we're gaining Cole back, we hope, if not this week, next week. But I know he's practicing, and James will still be the guy.
How good is Dwelly? You've seen good tight ends. You have good tight ends. How good is Dwelly?
He's really good because he creates mismatches for you in space. He's not always going to be an attached tight end. He's going to flex out. They're going to put him as the backside X-receiver sometimes where, a lot of times you tilt your coverage and then he has a mismatch with a corner, or they'll put him in the slot and utilize him there. They just move him around so much, and I'm really impressed with him. He played well against us last year, and he was a guy that we had to account for last year. So, and they have a really good receiver as well. So between those two, we have to make sure we know where those guys are at all times.
Comment at all narrowing down this is the dismissals? Is it academic?
No, we won't talk about anything on it.
4 incidents related?
I said we won't talk about anything.
Defensive line, they seem real athletic out there against Northern Arizona. Is that I don't remember. Couldn't go back and watch your guys' game last year. But is that something that stood out about them last year, or have they really stepped that up as well?
I really like their defensive line. At 95, I believe, has a chance to set the FCS record for sacks and tackles for losses, and he's a dynamic player that made some really good plays against us as well, and we'll have to know where he's at in a pass rush situation, as well as try to get some bodies on him with our tight ends and stuff, because he creates all sorts of problems for you, and they move him around, and so defensive line is a strength of theirs. Their linebackers are really active. They had 2 corners that were excellent players last year. One went on to the NFL, so they're a little bit more inexperienced, but they're senior guys back there, and I think that they've come into their own, and they did a great job against Northern Arizona, a really good passing team of putting pressure on the quarterback and playing really good coverage.
Darius and Austin able to get moving around a little bit yesterday too, Chris?
Yeah, we're hopeful. Cooney practiced yesterday, and I think everybody knows if Austin has a chance to play, he's going to play. And so he practiced a little bit yesterday. We were a little bit more limited with Shep, but our hope is he'll get moving around out there today. He was running full speed, but now we have to do the routes and the cutting and stuff that we feel pretty comfortable with, but we'll see how he does today and tomorrow.
Sorry, I should ask Levi too. Same situation?
Same situation. You know, he's questionable right now. He ran yesterday, and so we'll find out how much more he can progress over the next 2 days. We're hopeful to have all three guys back. All three guys are getting closer if they're not already there, but we need to probably go these next couple days and see how they do.
You guys have been pretty good after the bye week. What is the key to making a bye week work for you?
One is getting guys healthy and getting guys mentally away from the game so that when they come back, they're recharged not only physically but more so mentally. And just, boy, you go on the grind that we did for 9 weeks of playing games all the time, that you're just able to get your mind away from it and come back a little bit focused and re-energized. And, you know, just having 70 less snaps on you from Saturday really means a lot to those guys, especially the older they get.
Is there other factors? You know, have you adjusted practice?
No, I mean we're out there about an hour and 10 minutes right now, and that's been pretty much the case since we played South Dakota. You know, we're about there an hour and 15, hour and 10 minutes. We walk through for 20 minutes. We have a meeting for over an hour maybe. Just, you know, you're trying to do more mental stuff right now than you are physical things, simply because guys are beat up, and even though they had that week off, they're still a little bit beat up because of the grind. And so I think our guys knowing the routine really helps as well, in the fact of they know what we did after Illinois State. We worked out for a couple of days, and they were going to take 4 or 5 days off. Now we're going to put the pads on for a couple of days, and we'll take the pads off for a few days. They know the routine, and they feel comfortable with the routine leading up to the first playoff game.
I'm talking about after the bye week, though. Over the years, have you adjusted that week, that open week? Have you done different things?
No, we've been pretty consistent over the last 7 years of what practices that we've been able to do, what walkthroughs. I think that's the one thing that I think has really helped our program and helped the guys, is they know what to expect come that Thanksgiving week, and they know what to expect the week leading up to the game.
Chris, is San Diego better when you watch them from what you saw last year, this team that's going to come here on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they are. I still think it goes back to, the quarterback, because he's such a confident guy, and he's spreading the ball around, and they just handled the Pioneer League so well. They really didn't get challenged in that at all, and then they took it to Northern Arizona as well. But then on defense, they play the game the right way. They play really fast. They play really hard. They know their fits. They know what they do, and they do it well. I mean, it's not like you're going to see a bunch of exotic different fronts and blitzes and coverages. Here's what they do, and we feel that our kids know that scheme, and they're going to play it extremely fast.
Scoffed at the Pioneer getting an auto bid. Now this is 2 years in a row they've won a first-round game. What's your comment on that?
Well, I think they would. I think all of us would say they would finish in the top 2 or 3 in the Big Sky. I mean, look what they've done to teams that have been in the Big Sky that have either won it or been in the top. And they took Northern Arizona, that was a top 3 team. They took Cal Poly last year. They're a really good football team. And, I think Pioneer League, they are a different level Pioneer team. I think everybody in the Pioneer would tell you that. The teams that we've spoken to have said, boy, these guys are really good. And you can see that. I know that it's a non-scholarship league, but all of us would take Joe Haig, and he's a non-scholarship guy that came here. There's still really good football players out there, and they have a bunch of them, and they have a great coaching staff as well.
Great, Chris, of playing teams back-to-back years in the playoffs. Does it kind of almost feel like a little bit of a conference game as you have some more tape and film?
Yeah, no, it is. I think it helps us. I think in the fact of our guys know how physical that game was, and it was, 7-0 because MJ picked up pass off and went for a touchdown, or either that it was back and forth, and then we were able to pop a couple of runs on them. But they were driving the football on a number of occasions and missed a field goal when it was 14-0. That game was a really close game through 3 quarters, and then we were able to make some plays on them. So our guys know that this is a real physical team, and I think it helps because we have so many guys that played in that game that know that, boy, this is a really seasoned team that knows what to expect. They're not going to be awestruck by coming in the Fargodome. I don't think they were last year either, but now all those guys, and they have so many returners, all those guys have been here before. And so I don't see them at all thinking, boy, we're in all the Fargodome. They've been here before, and it's going to be a great 4-quarter game. And that's the thing that I guess if you look at the teams we have played back-to-back years in the playoffs, those return trips have been 4-quarter affairs because of the comfort level that those teams have, and I expect the same thing.
Atmosphere since you guys got back from Thanksgiving, guys seem extra locked in. Does it feel like playoff football?
Yeah, I think we'll know more today. Yesterday was the first day back, so always kind of tough, because they've been off for 4 or 5 days and had a lot to eat and relaxed, and so that's why I was glad we were able to get Sunday's workout in. Now we get back into it, and we have 3 good days here: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's when you expect those leaders to come out and the captains, and they'll step to the forefront here starting today.
Addressing the team after the dismissal, any surprises, and how do you see the guys responding to that?
They'll respond. They're a resilient bunch.
11 all-conference. Is there a guy on that group that you're most proud of that maybe flew under the radar that got some recognition?
No, not really. I was really pleased. That's always a tough vote because, we don't get a chance to vote for our own guys. And so I think it was great to see that I think we led the way with the most guys on those teams. And it's a great league. We all know that. There's so many guys deserving. I think there's great examples. The quarterback. I think you could put. I think everybody knows Chris Streveler is a phenomenal player, and you could have thrown McGuire, you could have thrown Easton, you could have thrown Christian, you could have thrown a lot of those guys. I think it's a really competitive position, and I chuckle with Easton. Carson Wentz was never a all-conference kid, and he's had a pretty good life after NDSU as well.
Sometimes it gets overshadowed a little bit. I'm guessing for him being a senior, that's kind of special too.
Yeah, I know it is. And he does so many things for us. And he lines up at fullback, lines up at tight end, flexes out for us, is the move guy, does a lot of the dirty work, so to speak. But in the red zone, he's a great weapon for us. And I think a lot of people have seen that. And I was glad he was able to get rewarded.